Hi, everyone. Welcome. I am so excited to see so many people have joined. Before we start, I want to draw attention up into the chat. If you haven't seen so already, we are doing a giveaway today. So I would like you to take a minute, go ahead and open that form and put in your name, your email, and fill out that information. I will be showing you some of the swag and items that we're giving away throughout this training. So take a second before I get started. Go ahead and fill out that form. I'll give everyone a minute to do that, and then we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, we're joining like crazy. I love to see it pinned in the top of the chat. If you're just joining, I was drawing attention to the chat box. Go ahead and fill out the form for the giveaway that we're doing during this live training today. We've got some swag and other items up for grabs, so go ahead and fill that out. Okay. Hi, guys. I love to see you guys in the chat. So, I am going to be doing this training, and then we have someone in the chat box. His name is Brian. He is the brains behind this operation. He's going to be manning the chat. Hi, I'm so glad you love us. Thank you so much for joining. I'm so excited. Hi, Ashley. We have one of our administrators here, Ashley, who is fabulous. I'm so glad to see you guys in here. Okay, so when we're looking at back to school, that's kind of where we are right now. So, very excited. I'm so glad that you guys are here as we kick off the new school year. Today, we're focusing on one of the most important parts of teaching, which is communication. So, we all know how hard it can be to balance staying connected with students while not spending hours sending individual reminders. And that is where Bulk Texter Pro comes in. So, my goal today is to give you some strategies and tools to make your messages more impactful while saving you some time, which is what we all want, right? And yes, like I said, we have a raffle coming up. So there is something to look forward to. Okay, so here is a little peek at what we're going to do, our roadmap. First, we're going to talk about boosting that engagement. We're going to talk about smart messaging. If you have been in the world of education for a while, I know that brings back some golden memories using the word smart when it comes to setting those smart goals. We're going to actually apply that to communication, saving time with streamlined communication strategies. We're also going to look at some ways to avoid some errors when you're sending those messages, as well as leveraging Bolt Texter Pro for all of the things and kind of making sure you're getting the most out of how you use Bulk Texter Pro and integrating that with your daily routine for communication for your kids. So, kind of went through this already, our roadmap and our agenda. This is the only thing that I didn't talk about was that raffle preview and the raffle drawing. So we can kind of skip to that part. I am so over the moon at seeing you guys in this chat box. It is making me giddy inside seeing everyone in here. So if you haven't already, look in the chat box since we've had about 50 people join since I last said it. Look in the chat box. Pinned at the top, there is a form for a raffle giveaway. And speaking of raffle giveaway, let's take a look at some of the swag that we're offering today. So you can see we have lots to choose from. So up in the top right, well, left for you guys, we've got a quarter sleeve Bulk Texter Pro Henley shirt. We've got a bag, a mouse pad. We have a short sleeve t-shirt, a backpack, some crazy socks that I'm obsessed with, as well as a lifetime license for Bulk Texter Pro. So if you're on an external license right now, that doesn't really suit you, which is why we are giving you the gift of choice. So if you are one of our giveaway winners, you get to choose which item that you would like from our list of swag. So if you are someone who is not on a school license, first have your administrator contact me. And second, if you can use this lifetime license for Bulk Texter Pro. But if you are on an external license, what a cool way to kind of celebrate your communication techniques by picking some swag. So last call for filling out that form. It will be available during the whole training, but I'm not going to revisit that form until the very end. So take your time filling that form out. Make sure you sign up before I get through all of the good stuff, so that way you can be eligible for our giveaway. I love that you guys are saying hi to each other too. It's the cutest thing ever. Okay, let's get into the meat and potatoes, right? So, yes, us at Bulk Texter Pro, it's a very, very cool app, but there's purpose, right? It's not a game that you're sitting playing with your kids. This is what matters in virtual education. So, virtual learning relies heavily on connection, but most of us are used to being in a physical classroom, and students build relationships through those daily interactions, the eye contacts, the smiles, the check ins, the quirks that we have, the sarcasm that we're able to bring. And we just don't have that same face to face connection. So our messages ultimately become the bridge. And without this, students can feel isolated and disconnected or even unmotivated, which I'm sure you've seen. And so personalized communication helps kind of recreate that sense of belonging in a digital space that's often missed when we don't have personalized communication. Secondly, think about personalized communication creates that human connection, right? So students are more likely to respond, and even us as adults, we're more likely to respond when we feel a message was written for us. A text that says, "Hey, Brittany, I noticed you submitted your assignment. Great job," feels a lot different than a generic reminder of, "Hey, it's your teacher. Go ahead and submit this week." That human connection, even through text, makes the students feel like their teacher sees them as an individual and not just a name on a roster. Um, it also improves accountability and motivation, which is huge. I mean, even us as employees, we want to feel that level of motivation and accountability that, what we're doing has purpose and we're motivated. So when messages include names, progress updates, specific next steps, the students begin to take ownership, and they can't just scroll past that message because it speaks directly to them. So this level of accountability motivates students to complete work on time, stay engaged, and really track their own growth. And personalized messages give those students a nudge that we want, but while also empowering them, which is really our goal, right? Our goal is their success. And so if we can empower them to do that, then that's really what we're here for. This last one I love, reduces confusion and missed deadlines. So when we are communicating with kids, they're reading what we're writing. So a lot of times they're not hearing what we're saying. And so there can be some confusion. And so when we're clear and direct, that type of communication is key. So if we say, "Please work on your course," well, students know what we mean, but we're not giving them anything to grab on. Whereas if we say, "Submit module 3 quiz by Friday at 5 p.m., there's no confusion, right? Personalized reminders cut down the questions and reduce those missed deadlines and help students and parents know exactly what's expected of them. So I put a little pro tip here too, that just even the smallest touch, like using the student name or referencing their last assignment, is really going to dramatically increase your engagement because it shows them that you're paying attention. And that's really important to building trust with your kiddos. So let's go into, how do we support this? Okay, this is all great. We all know that this is important, but how? Yes, I'm seeing the chat box. Are we going to have step-by-step instructions? That's after this. So I promise we'll get to it. How does Bulk Texter Pro support this? Bulk Texter Pro actually helps us make all of this communication easier because it integrates directly with your existing texting platform. So you don't need a new number, you don't need a new system. And my favorite is there's no buy-in. There's no special code that you have to share with parents, with students. They just get it directly from your phone number. And so it's not alerting them, "Hey, Bulk Texter Pro has sent you a message." It's coming from your phone number that they already have, that they communicate with you. So it's huge. That is kind of the streamlined system that we have. You're still sending texts, but you can do it in bulk and personalize each one. So you can see three of the things that I have on here. I'm going to show you lots more when we go into the system, but this first one, which is our bread and butter and the things that people love the most, is our CSV upload. So this gives you that capability of going into your LMS system and downloading your students' information, which is safe. It's everything is stored on your computer. So we at Bulk Texter Pro do not see any of that. But you can download straight from your LMS and send those personalized texts based upon what is in your LMS system. So it is real, it is live, it is based upon where your kids are at in the reflection of your system, which is amazing. Scheduling message. Work-life balance can be challenging in the world of virtual, especially if you have little ones at home. You put them to bed and you're like, okay, it's 9 o'clock. Well, maybe I could get a little bit of work done. But we want to remind ourselves that we should maintain boundaries, and our kiddos don't need texts from us at 9 o'clock at night, just as much that they don't need texts from us at 5 a.m. in the morning. So you have the capabilities to be productive and work in the hours that fit your schedule, but scheduling those messages to go out during normal operating business hours. So, very important feature here, especially like I said, for those of us that have crazy schedules. This is a way to kind of implement your productivity at all hours of the day while keeping those boundaries secure. And then this last one, coming from the land of language arts, and being a language arts teacher in my history, this is probably one of my favorite, is previewing your messages. You can see exactly what things look like as they are about to go out. You can check for spelling mistakes and things that may look a little funky, or oops, I forgot to put a percent sign, and really, really make sure that those texts are going out the way that you want them to. Even if you're someone who's a little more type A and you want to double check all the phone numbers, you can also do that as well. But you have the capabilities to preview everything before it goes out. So let's do a quick demo of what Bulk Texter Pro is like. So I'm going to switch screens really quick. If you just give me 1 second, I will go into Bulk Texter Pro for us so that we can see what it looks like. So Bulk Texter Pro, this is kind of, when you open it, this is what you're going to see. But I am going to go backwards and start at a spreadsheet. Okay. So if we have a spreadsheet, let's pretend that we pulled this straight from our LMS system, and I have a small caseload, and apparently I'm dual certified, so I teach math and history. Yay me. I've got my two kiddos, so I'm pulling their information, and this is what it has given me on my spreadsheet. I have the students' names, I have their number, the parent number, what their grade in the class is, the subject area course that they're taking, percent complete, expected finish date, last assignment they submitted, and the assignment coming up. This is all great information. I love that I can see where they are. And again, this is just pulling from their LMS system. Now, at any time, if I wanted to add a column, absolutely. When you're pulling your system straight, or your Excel spreadsheet straight from your system, you can manipulate that spreadsheet to add something different. If you wanted to add a column for testing room because you were about to send out testing information of where they are, or if you wanted to add a column of just a motivational message that says good luck at baseball, you can put that in a separate column after you've already downloaded all of the information from your LMS system. So keep that in mind, that these spreadsheets are totally able to be manipulated after the fact when you download them, so that you can really tailor it to what you're looking for your kids. So I've got my spreadsheet. It looks perfect. Now, I may not want to use this column, but there's no need for me to get rid of it in the spreadsheet and spend extra time working here. All of the magic is going to happen within Bulk Texter Pro. So I'm going to glaze over the pending history and form entry just for the sake of time for this training. If for any reason you want a more detailed training on these other tabs, you absolutely can reach out to us and I can assist you with those. But for today, we're going to focus on our CSV upload tab. So you guys just saw that my spreadsheet includes all of these columns here. Now, what I've done is I've downloaded this spreadsheet as a CSV, and I've uploaded it here into our CSV. Now, how incredible is this? Look at these purple icons. These purple icons are a direct match to the columns listed in my spreadsheet. So I have full autonomy to decide, what do I want to include in my message and what do I not want to include? So this is my message that I have right now typed up. This is completely editable. I can add, remove, all that good stuff. So I'm going to just start with hey student name. And what's great about this is those buttons right here. This is an upgrade. If you've been with us for a while, you can now just click it and it will insert itself. Okay. So that field that was in the spreadsheet, my two kids' names with Stephanie and Jack, are now able to be previewed in my messages to be seen by me. So incredible. So now I can see exactly what is going to go out to these kiddos. Now, I want to make it a little more meaty, right? I want to add a couple things in here. I want to tell them what their percent is, and I want to tell them a specific day or one of these other columns. So I'm going to say, reminder to turn in an assignment this week. I would love to see their assignment coming up, right? Because that is going to call them to exactly where they are and make it relevant for them. The assignment coming up, submitted by Thursday. Okay, so now I'm giving them something that they can actually reach. It's measurable for them. They know which assessment to complete and they know which day to complete it. These messages are totally different, right? I've got Stephanie, I've got her assessment, I've got Jack, I've got his assessment. I can add an additional layer and say just a quick reminder to turn in an assignment this week and I'm going to add their subject area too. So now it's even more specific of what my expectations are that we're looking in the specific course, right? So we're looking at what assignment they want or I want from them, where do I want it, and when do I want it by. Here's something that we're going to touch on in the next couple of slides is this part right here is quite possibly my favorite Bulk Texture Pro hack for engagement and communication is just that little nudge and that line to elicit a response from our kiddos. And I'll talk a little bit about why that's important. So from here, I have a couple options. I can decide that I want to send these messages now and it will open up my texting platform, or I can decide to schedule these. Like I said, for all of our late nighters, early risers, I can keep this within functioning business hours and still maintain those boundaries, but I can work when it's beneficial to me. So that is a beautiful, beautiful feature. For the purposes of today, I'm just going to go ahead and send these text messages now. And I'm also going to show you our cancel feature. So if at any point in time during my text messages, I change my mind and I'm like, forget it, abort, I don't want to send these, I can actually cancel those messages as they're going out. So I'm going to go ahead and send these. It's going to open Google Voice for me. And then I'm going to go ahead and change my mind, want to cancel. So I can actually go back into my history tab. If I wanted to make changes or do anything like that, I can go and fix those messages. So when you send something, no, you have a small window to change your mind. The window is small because those messages will go out pretty quick, but definitely it will go. I have someone asking if they can see what it looks like to go out in the background. So I'll send one really quick. I'll let this go through so that way you can see. So that message is going to pull up. It's going to send that message. I did use some dummy numbers, so I might get an error since it's not a real number. But once it goes through, it'll say sent, and then you'll have another one that says pending. So definitely easy to track. And I don't know if you guys noticed, I'm going to come back in here and look at Bulk Texture Pro. If you guys notice, it actually tells you how long it's going to take, which is fantastic. This is a new feature that we've kind of added with people looking at sending larger quantities of message, along with the capabilities of minimizing the window. So if you are running a bulk text and you're like, holy cow, this is going to take an hour, I don't have an hour to take a break and not work. You can actually pull Google Voice in its own window and minimize that. So that way it's running in the background and you're able to continue to work. You can additionally, you can throw it on a different browser. So if you have 2 screens, 3 screens, whatever, absolutely you can do that. But if you're someone working on one browser, just pull Bulk Texter Pro and Google Voice into its own window and you're able to minimize that. So definitely an amazing, amazing hack where it used to have to stay in the forefront. No longer do you have to do that. So lots of opportunities for productivity of you working while Bulk Texter Pro is communicating for you, which is fabulous. So this is kind of the basics of what CSV looks like. I'm going to show just a few more features on this page before we dive back into training. But again, if you want training on any of these other tabs at any time, you can reach out to bulk support at Bulk Texter Pro, ask some questions, and I'll be able to get back to you. So some other features here that are amazing is this recent section. So if you look over here, you can actually pull recent CSVs that you've used, photos that you've used. So here's an example that I included this image in one of my text messages on 8/20, was probably doing a training with this school and used this image and uploaded this picture to add a little something, something, and it saves that picture for me. And at any point in time, I can now go through, scroll through all of the pictures and look through. I'm getting a question. Can they answer your text messages? Yes, this goes directly to the phone number that you are utilizing. So it goes into a normal chat, a normal Google Voice thread, and they don't see that it's coming from Bulk Texter Pro. So it goes directly to the chat. So if you guys were texting earlier about an assessment you sent on a Bulk Texter Pro, it goes in that same thread and you're able to respond seamlessly without swapping apps, doing a different code, anything like that. You get to stay within the app, which is incredible. Okay. Um, so the recent tab is great because, again, if you're someone who's sending messages with the same kiddos and they don't change their phone numbers, maybe you're in ESE or maybe you're in a smaller department where you have the same kiddos, you can pull those same CSV tabs instead of re-downloading them. Now, with the virtual turnover, I don't know how often you'll reuse those CSV tabs, but the messages and the photos, the likelihood of you sending out the same message is probably going to be relatively high as well as those pictures. So definitely a feature to take advantage of to be able to do that. So our small little demo, again, it's a little quick, so I do apologize, but I want to make sure we get to utilizing Bulk Texter Pro for all that it's worth. So now that you're sending those text messages, okay, something that happens often is our kiddos get these text messages from us, right? And we're saying, hey, you have this grade in my class, and this is how complete you are. And then nothing, no response, silence. And that's normal. But it's also tells us something very important, right? That sending messages is only half of the job. That's why the way we craft messages within Bulk Texter Pro really determines whether the student engages with them or ignores them. And you kind of have to take yourself back if you've been in the classroom of you're almost asking rhetorical questions, right? When you're sending a message that says, "Hey, this is where you are in my course," for a kiddo who's on it and they know where they are, you kind of have to take yourself back and say, what are they supposed to do with this? We want them to engage the same way we would in the classroom. So that's why strategy is so important. We want to go beyond just sending the information. We want to spark interaction in our text messages. So, what do we do? Well, let's take it back. Like I said, if you've been in education for a long time, you've seen this somewhere. Even if you're in the business world, I'm sure you've had a boss at some point in time say, let's make a SMART goal, which again, I have nothing against SMART goals, but it's never really translated into communication. This is always for setting goals for business. How can we apply this to the way we communicate with students? Let's look at each category. SMART, okay? Messages should tell the student exactly what you want them to do. That takes care of our specific. What do I want you to do? An example is submit module 3 quiz by Friday instead of catch up on work, right? There's a very, very stark difference in the two of those. Catch up on your work. How many different ways can you interpret catch up on your work versus submit module 3 quiz by Friday? There's not a lot of interpretation to that, right? I know what you want me to submit and when you want me to submit it by. So we're now looking at something that's incredibly specific. Measurable. Let's include something that can be tracked or checked. So here's an example with percentage. You're at 53% complete. Aim for 60% next week. So now we're actually able to measure whether or not they've completed what we've asked them to do. Here's an important one. Achievable. Okay. I love setting big goals. I am a big goal setter myself. I love having a bigger picture in mind. But these oftentimes, even if they're teenagers, these are babies. So we need to give them something that's realistic and doable for the student. So instead of catch up on everything now, I'm waiting. We want to give them a plan that's reasonable and something that they feel that they can do. Because if they feel that they can do it, they're more likely to be motivated to try, right? So instead of saying catch up on everything now, it's submit 3.4 today, and then tomorrow maybe we can look at 3.5. So setting something that's realistic and doable for them is going to be much easier to digest, and then in turn more likely for them to participate. Relevant. While this seems like it goes without saying, you want to say something that's relevant to your kiddos. So tell them why. Why do I want you to get to 60%? Why do I care about you getting this quiz completed? I can say completing this quiz will raise your grade and keep you on pace. I'm giving them the why. Why is the completion of this relevant? And it could be as easy as, hey, if you submit this quiz, it gets you that much closer to finishing on time. Whatever it is creating that relevance in their head of reminding them there's a reason for doing what you're doing, and I'm here to support you in that, right? Time bound, deadlines. Even though sometimes they feel like suggestions, I understand. Um, Deadlines create urgency, but they also create clarity. So if I tell you to submit by Thursday at 5 rather than submit soon, I'm giving you something that creates a level of urgency of I need you to do this and I want to see this happen rather than, hey, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Definitely creating that time bound goal is important. I see someone in the chat. I'm trying to keep track, but there's a lot of you, so that's why I have Brian in there for specific questions. But I see someone in the chat talking about state laws. Totally, totally important. If you are utilizing this with a school, always communicate with your administrator to ask what is allowed. We work with several schools where some things are allowed in some schools and others are not allowing the same information. Some prefer only first names. Some are okay with first and last names. Some don't want you to tell the course. You just need to make sure that you are communicating with your administrator because this should be all educators in here. So just make sure that you are an open book with your admin and telling them, hey, I'm utilizing this tool. Can you please tell me what's appropriate to include in texting? So thank you for bringing that up. I really appreciate that. Okay, so let's take some examples. Now, I should say there's nothing wrong with the first text. There's nothing wrong here. This is actually a text that I used in the classroom when I was probably 2 years ago in the virtual setting, that it's very, very clean. Okay. However, let's look at these two examples because on the left, we have a more generic version, and on the right, we have a smart message. It's specific, measurable, and it ends with a clear call to action. And it asks for a quick reply, which again is my favorite. That tiny detail makes the student feel included and almost guarantees a response. So both technically give the same information, but the difference in tone and clarity is huge. So students are more likely to respond when they feel that the message is supported and directed towards their success. Okay. So this first example is, hey, it's Miss Neenan. Currently, you have a 53% complete and you have an 85% B in your course. I'm proud of you. I love that. Okay. I'm telling the kid I'm proud of them. I'm giving them directions. But what are they supposed to do with this, right? What are they supposed to do with this message? Read it and that's it, right? Check in their brain, they're good to go. Now, let's look at the smart example. Hey, it's Miss Neenan. You're currently 53% complete with an 85% B in your course. Great work so far. Positive, encouraging, to stay on track, relevant. Set a goal to submit at least one new assignment by next week, time bound. This will help boost your grade and move you closer to finishing strong. Adding another layer of relevance in there. Please reply with an emoji so I know you got this message. Now I'm encouraging engagement, right? So I in my opinion, if I was a parent of a student in a virtual class, if I got the first text, I'm not upset, I'm not angry, but if I look at this smart example, this teacher cares about my kid. This teacher cares about my success. They want to see this kid succeed. They're telling them why it's important, what to do, when to do it. It's very clear. So that is a huge, huge jump in the way that you interact with your kids. Let's look at a situation where a student is falling behind, okay? Because that's not always a happy-go-lucky conversation, is you're falling behind pace. Probably the standard protocol at your school is to call a student if they are behind pace. That is standard protocol at our school, at all of the schools that I've ever spoken with is if a student is behind pace, you need to give them a phone call. However, there is nothing against the rules of sending a supplemental text to just give them that extra boost of encouragement. So we look at this first example. Hey, it's Miss Neenan. Currently, you're 53% complete and you're falling behind pace. I need you to submit because it's been more than a week and I do not want you to lose your spot in the course for inactivity. It's okay, right? It's okay. There's nothing super wrong with this, but let's look at the smart message. Like, this is encouraging but firm. It sets them a goal, gives them a deadline, but it also reassures the student that you believe in them, which is huge. Okay. This first message may feel like scolding or overwhelming. And this other message can turn what feels like bad news into a motivating action plan, which is really what we want. So this one, hey, it's Miss Neenan, you're currently 53% complete, but you've fallen a bit behind pace. I believe in you and I don't want to risk losing your spot in the course. Please make it a goal to submit your next assignment this Thursday. Send me back a quick emoji so I know you got this message. I'm asking for engagement. I'm asking for the kid to respond. I'm having I'm having just softer tone in this message, which really is important. We don't have that same connection with our kids where they know we're being silly or they know our level of sarcasm or they know our personalities. So what they get from us is written. And so this second smart example really does set the tone for our kiddos of, hey, we really do believe in you. And while it may feel overwhelming and you falling behind is not the best thing, here's how to get back on track. And I believe in you throughout that process. So, super important, that small change. So, let's look at some best practices. These are best practices to limit your rate limiting, which is basically Google Voice or your carrier saying, no, no, this is spam. Our goal is for you guys to get those students to encourage replies because it shows your carrier that it's two-way communication, which is really the goal for all of these carriers is students are responding and this is a conversation rather than spam, 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 spam. So the first one is customize your text. So don't let them feel like those cookie cutter reminders, adding a student's name, referencing their progress, and keeping the tone conversational makes a huge difference in how the message is received. And students can tell when the message is truly meant for them. They know that you're using text messages. They don't need to know you're using Bulk Text or Pro. It doesn't tell them. So adding all of those layers is going to reduce the chance of you being flagged. Second, like I showed you in those text messages, encourage replies. You can be as silly as you want. I have seen schools that I've worked with say that elementary schools, they'll be like, your grade book is starving. Reply with what emoji you would feed it. And kids will reply with a taco or a cheeseburger or an ice cream cone, just anything to get them to respond. If you are someone in elementary, you can say, I imagine you're not texting your kindergartner. So you can tell the parent, have your student choose their favorite animal emoji, right? And now you're getting the kindergartner involved in the text messages, which is huge because our sweet kindergarten babies, they're not texting you, but now they're during your conversations with them, you can say, Brody, I received your little lion emoji that your mom sent me. I didn't know you liked lions. I love lions too. So you can really open those doors for personalization, conversation, engagement when you're asking them to respond. It seems like just a quick emoji, but it gives you that read receipt. It gives that interaction. It keeps them engaged. And again, the goal for this slide is it reduces the chances of your messages being flagged as spam. And that door opens for two-way communication instead of a one-sided announcement. Um, Third, I have spaced out your messages. If you're sending to a larger group, we do have the capabilities to take down the time to like 5 seconds increments for messages. I definitely, for me, I stick with the 30 seconds. We've had several people have luck with 15 seconds between messages, but for me, if you can minimize it and put it in the background, I would just leave it at 30 seconds. This helps avoid delivery issues and keeps your account running smoothly. Instead of sending them super quickly, you're more likely to be flagged as sending spam. And then this last one, keep messages short. So just kind of understand that not only is it best practices to keep your messages short, but we're also texting students, right? And if you don't get that information out quickly in the message, then they've probably checked out. They're not reading it anymore. They don't care what the text message says. So the quicker you can get that information out, the better. Okay. Um, Preview, if you've never done bulk texter before and you're shaking in your boots, getting ready to send the first message and you want it to be perfect, preview messages before sending with your colleagues, with annoy your spouse, send it to your family, tell your parents, hey, I'm going to send you a message. Like, please tell me what it looks like. So that way you can see what it looks like in a thread. You can see anything that you've sent out, what it looks like. So that way you know exactly what your kiddos are getting and you can see the engagement of what did you think of that? Did you like the way that message sounded? How was the tone? Make it a group project, right? So Brian posted in the chat recommended best practices. I would take a peek at those and just kind of keep those in mind when you are sending. You can see some of the ones that I haven't listed here, but these are really the biggest ones that I feel are often seen when it comes to I was marked as spam. Oftentimes I'm like, hey, all of your messages were exactly the same. So it's really just, again, keeping in mind that this should be as customized as possible for your kiddos, getting that information out, encourage that reply, space them out, and keep them short. Short and sweet is the goal. Okay. Exciting part. Okay. This is something that I am really excited about. It has been requested like crazy, and this is not available anywhere. If you guys are here viewing this session, you're the first to hear about it and you're going to be the first to see it. So I'm very, very excited to show you guys what has been in the works in the background for quite some time in conversation, testing, all that good stuff. It is the out of office responder. So think of this like auto replying email, but built for Google Voice with no crazy workarounds to connect it to an email and to forward your messages and all this stuff. So here's how it works. So when a student or a parent texts you during a time that you've marked as out of office, they'll automatically get a response. Okay. It can say whatever you want. You can personalize the message. I love the excitement in the chat. I'm so excited too. You'll be able to customize your message of what you want it to say. I typically, just a little pro tip here, I typically do 2 asterisks cap locks auto reply to asterisks, because sometimes our sweet babies, when they get a message, they think you're just texting them back. So they're like, hey, I know you're out of office, but so I always start it with two asterisks, auto reply, all caps, 2 stars. So that way they hopefully get the message that, hey, this isn't actually coming from me, but it's coming from my out of office responder. So, for example, you can say, like, thanks for reaching out. I'm out of office and I'll get back during my working hours. Why is this such a big deal? Well, I mentioned before that there there is a delicate balance in the world of virtual between work life and personal life. And creating this helps set boundaries in virtual education, right? It's just so easy for our work and personal time to blur. And this tool helps remind students and families that we're not on call 24/7, which is heartbreaking for some of them. But we deserve that time. We deserve the weekends. For those of you that are in here from FLVS, your day ends at 8. You don't need to be texting at 10:30 at night. If you are on vacation, you deserve that as well. You deserve to be away. And so this will help do that for you and set those boundaries with students. But it also creates a level of acknowledgement for the kid. Even if you're not actively responding, they know that their message went through, it was received, and that they'll get a reply later. So not only does it benefit us, but I definitely think that this is something that creates that acknowledgement for the student and really reduces anxiety, okay? Because now they know, oh, she did receive it, she's out. Whew, I forgot. Because as much as we may have announcements and emails sent out, they may not see the home pages and all that good stuff. So now you can give them that response without responding. So your students who are a little more anxious, you won't get those repeat messages like, hey, did you get my text? Hey, I texted you. Did you get my text? Do you get it? Do you get it? It will help reduce a lot of that. And now your students will be at ease knowing you did receive the message, and you'll be able to get a response when I'm back. That other benefit, in my opinion, is professionalism. So that automated response is clear, consistent message and reassures families without you having to manually do it. So it's a professional feature that kind of makes you look, legit. Okay. We do a lot. And so having that auto response is a really, really nice feature. We hope to have this released by the end of the month. There's a lot of testing that's still going on with making sure that everything works the way it's supposed to. But um, they're not eating or sleeping, those who are working on this and trying to get this up and running for you. So that way you guys can hopefully have it by the end of the month, which would be great because then you can start using it for those semester breaks. So at the end of the semester, when you're off for 2 weeks, now you can have your autoresponder kick in and, let them know you're out. So this to me is just a great example of how Bulk Texter Pro is just continuing to evolve with teachers' needs in mind. And it's just one more way to make communication smoother for you and your parents. So here's kind of like a live view of what it looks like. So student is sending you a text message. They're saying, hey, can you remind me of when it's due? Now your out of office responder is going to do its magic. It's going to send that message out, and then your student will see that response in their text thread of, sorry, I'm not available. I'll respond to your message as soon as I'm available. So that's kind of what it looks like for them. So they can see that on their end. So amazing, amazing, amazing. I'm so glad that you guys are so excited. I can't tell you how excited I have been on my side of things, that I've been freaking out, being like, people are going to tweak out over this. Like, this is a big deal. So one of the caveats I'm seeing in the chat is your computer needs to be awake. So just plug it in, have it open, so that way it's on for you. But amazing, amazing feature. Okay, now I'm so excited. Our raffle winners. So we've had lots of you guys submit. I'm going to say the names of those who were drawn. I just got them. Um, wow, a lot of winners were picked, guys. So I'm going to say your first name and last initial. If this is you, you guys can just email support. Oh, I'm so sorry. We'll actually email you. We will email you afterwards. But if you hear your name, you were our raffle winner. And we're just so, so grateful that you guys joined us. So our drawing winners are Christine D, Angelica S., Kaylee L., Michelle M., Cindy S., Nimi R., Sarah M., and Marissa V. So if that was you, I'm so excited. You are going to get to pick something for swag or anything that was in there. I'm so glad to see you guys enter for that giveaway. And that brings us to the end of our session. I'm so sad, but thank you for being here. Before we officially close, in all seriousness, I always like to take a moment to recognize all of you because teachers are the heartbeat of education. You are the ones building relationships, motivating students, and helping them see what's possible. As a parent now, it's completely changed my perspective of what educators do. As someone who's been in education my whole career, seeing what teachers do for kids has completely shifted because you help them see what's possible. The work that you do every single day matters so much more than you realize. And I know the effort it takes, the late nights, the creativity, the patience that you pour into your students. Please know how truly valuable you are, not just to your students, but to your families, the school, and really the future. So thank you for everything you do. It's an honor to support you with tools like Bulk Texter Pro that make your work just a little bit easier. I'm watching the chat. You guys are amazing. To make everything you do easier. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you for showing up for your students, for giving your best, even when you feel like you don't have anything left to give, and for being the kind of educators that change lives. We're so excited for you guys to continue working with Bulk Texter Pro. I hope you're walking away with a little bit of clarity, understanding of how Bulk Texter Pro works, but also some ideas for making your messages more personal, intentional, and effective. This tool is here to help you save time with making communication meaningful. And we're just so thankful that you're a part of our family. So if you have questions, please feel free to answer the chat or hang out in the chat. I will leave the chat on for a little bit, but other than that, I'm just so grateful. So thank you so much for coming today. Hopefully we'll do something like this again soon and change the topic a little bit, but I hope you guys have a great rest of your school year, and I'm incredibly grateful for you showing up. Thank you so much.